a loud love, everyone, for Bill Spade!
Good evening, New York. I came in from Chicago. So thank you very much for having me, and thank my friends for coming out. I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and one of the things I really enjoy is getting to meet and know some of the other comics, because it always makes me feel so much better about my life. I was really nervous the first couple of times I did this. I was worried if the audience would heckle me, or they would laugh at my jokes. And then I went out and got a concealed carry permit. I grew up around guns. My mother was from Montana, and my father was from the south side of Chicago. She was a much better shot than him, but he always had higher magazine capacity. So when they shot it out, it usually ended up in a draw. But it was my dad who taught me how to own and operate firearms. He died in a tragic accident when I was quite young, and I'll never forget the last thing he said to me. It was, "Bill, no!" I recently joined ISIS, not because I agree with their crazy ideology, but because I was promised 72 virgins, which is precisely 72 more than I've had so far in my life, or probably ever will, but I found out it was a complete scam. I go and blow myself up, I get up to heaven, and they don't offer me 72 virgins, all they offered me was half of a crack whore. I did, however, get to pick which half. In my day-to-day life, I'm a reporter. I've covered stories all over the country, all over the world, and I've learned one immutable fact about my craft, and that is that any story that begins with the phrase, "a Florida man," is not going to have a happy ending. You may remember this guy a few years ago got all hopped up on bath salts and chewed off another dude's face. Downtown Miami, broad daylight. I got to cover that story. That was fun. But my editors rejected my initial lead, which went like this. "If you don't eat your face, you can't have any pudding." How can you have any pudding if you don't eat your face? I do try to keep up with the news, and one of the compelling stories these days, of course, is Jenner. Gender neutral, I guess I'm going to have to call whatever he or she is. And I had some interesting questions, I thought, and one is that, does Jenner now throw like a girl? Did Jenner have to take a 30% pay cut? And of course Jenner is a Republican, and some of the Republicans have been embracing Jenner, and I'd love to see Jenner speak at the Republican National Convention and throw his dick into the crowd.
Heard that.
I'm generally a fairly progressive Democrat, although I may not look the part all the time. But I like to play around with old genres of jokes, but a lot of those are kind of racist and sexist, so I try to update them a little bit. So I'm sure everybody here has heard of Yo Mama jokes. Those are too sexist, so I tell Yo Daddy jokes instead. As in, like, Yo Daddy's so ugly that Jeff Dahmer spit him out. Your daddy's so ugly that even Helen Keller closes her eyes when he fucks her. Your daddy's so stupid that he walked up to Stephen Hawking and said, "Is this chair taken?" Your daddy's so cheap he wouldn't pay to have you aborted. Your daddy's so ugly that the Elephant Man paid $1 to see it. Your daddy's so old that Jesus owes him $1. In honor of being in New York, and I have a son who's going to be 18 this year. He told me this joke. I thought you might appreciate it. And that is, what's the difference between a toddler and a bag of cocaine? Eric Clapton would never have let a bag of cocaine fall That one never misses, folks. From Chicago to Louisville to DC to New York. That one always works. Let's see, I'm going to take a quick break for a little musical number. A lot of my stuff is topical. This has fallen a little bit out of the news, but trust me, it's going to be back. I hadn't sung on stage since I was in 9th grade, when I played the lead in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. That didn't work out too well. In fact, when Charles Schultz, the creator of Peanuts, heard about my performance, he drove halfway across the country just to kick me in the balls. But I'll try it out anyway. It walked up to me and it asked me to die. I asked it its name and with a bloody sigh it said, Ebola. Ibioleola. La la la, Ebola. Let's see what else. Okay, here I'm going to tell you my father was a fairly dignified and quiet man, but he did have one joke that he liked to tell, and it was about the West Virginia wedding. It was a wedding in West Virginia, and on the wedding night, the groom comes back to his pappy's house, and he's crying away. And his pappy says, "What are you doing here? It's your wedding night." And he goes, Pa, she was a virgin." And his pappy says, "Aw, shit, you did the right thing. If she ain't good enough for her own folks, she sure ain't good enough for my boy." Sometimes, like most people, I do get depressed. But when I get depressed, I don't think about killing myself. I typically think about killing other people, particularly the ones who depress me. I think that's about it for me tonight. Thank you very much.
Go.